This is a recap of the 2023 NFL season sim week 11 as we get down to the latter stages of the season. Let's take a look at all that happened this week. Starting with Thursday Night Football, the Vikings beat the Falcons by 3 in a very competitive game. They win 24-21, and all of a sudden they are on a little bit of a run here at 6-4 now. Kirk Cousins 243 and a touchdown. Bad news though, Madison with an ankle injury. He'll be out 4 to 6 weeks. Jordan Addison, the rookie from USC, caught his first career touchdown. Desmond Ridder, 167, 2 touchdowns, and an interception is rumors saying that Ridder might get benched in the coming weeks. A big game in Foxborough where the Jets beat the Patriots 34-31. A very good game from start to finish, down to the wire towards the end. Zach Wilson, 275 and an interception. One of his best games. He had a rushing touchdown in this game as well. Breece Hall and Abanikanda with rushing touchdowns, and then Mac Jones, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he was the leading rusher in yards for the Patriots, but they lose. They're now 4-6 in bottom of the division. The revenge game for these two quarterbacks sees the Lions winning 24-13. They beat the Rams for the second year in a row as round 2 goes to the Lions. 266, 3 touchdowns for Jared Goff as he's the front runner for MVP right now. Sam Laporta with a big game, but Puka Nacua out for the season for the Rams. That is huge as Stafford threw for 206 and a touchdown going to Cooper Kupp, who had 48 receiving yards. The Colts demolished the Giants 28-10, a big win for them as Anthony Richardson starting to trend in the right direction when it comes to progression. As the Colts are now 5-5, 224 and 4 touchdowns for Richardson. One of those going to Michael Pittman, who had 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. Darius Slayton, 89, and the only touchdown for the Giants as Jones threw for 201, a touchdown and an interception. Saquon Barkley, 97 yards on the ground. The Jaguars win 30-14 over the Cardinals in Duval and are starting to trend back in the right direction themselves. As now Lawrence 319, 3 touchdowns and interception, the best game of his season so far. Etienne 109 rushing yards, had 9 yards receiving and a touchdown. Calvin Ridley 119 and a touchdown, the best day in his Jags career. Murray 231, 2 touchdowns, had an interception. The Bills sweep the Dolphins. They win 34-20 in South Florida. A big win for Buffalo. They beat Miami in Week 8 in Buffalo. Now they go down there and get the win. They're 8-2, even without Stephon Diggs and that explosiveness from the offense. Allen, 259, 2 touchdowns through the air. He had 1 on the ground. One of those touchdowns in the air went to Gabe Davis, 95 through the air. James Cook, 84 on the ground and a touchdown. Tua, 227, a touchdown and an interception. The Carolina Panthers get their first win of the season. They win 23-21 over the New Orleans Saints. And how about Carolina? Bryce Young, 193, a touchdown and an interception. Chuba Hubbard had a rushing touchdown on the day. Claude Shark had 1 through the air. As Derek Carr, 251, 2 touchdowns and a late interception, which cost the Saints the victory. They slipped to 4-6. Carolina 1-10, still currently the worst team in the league. The Steelers beat the Chargers 27-18, a big win for them. They're able to bounce back after that heartbreaking loss against Cleveland in Week 10. Easton Stick, 218, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. He had 3 turnovers on the day. Austin Eckler, a rushing and a receiving touchdown. Kenny Pickett, 197 and a touchdown. Najee Harris had 1 on the ground. TJ Watt had that fumble scoop and score. Chargers slipped to 2-8, and on our dumpster fire of the season, Steelers are 6-5. The Houston Texans continue to impress. They win 31-14 over the Las Vegas Raiders, who are another dumpster fire at 2-8 with Aiden O'Connell, who threw 2 interceptions today. Josh Jacobs had a touchdown, so did Jacoby Myers. But C.J. Stroud, 4 TDs, and Nico Collins had 135 yards and a touchdown. Stroud, his 4th 300-plus yard game of the season, one of the most by a rookie quarterback. The Titans hang on in a tough game against the Commanders, 31-27, a close game in Nashville, Tennessee. They get the win to get the 4-7. Tannehill 221 and a touchdown through the air. Derrick Henry 2 rushing touchdowns. Danico Audrey had a fumble, scoop, and score. Sam Howell played rough in the beginning, came back in the end, was already too late. 258, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Terry McLaurin, 155 receiving yards. Brian Robinson Jr. with a rushing touchdown. Best game of the week, the Browns were down 21-6 and come back and beat the Ravens on the road. Cleveland is on a 4-game winning streak right now. They're currently 5-5. The Ravens' Justin Tucker missed the game-winning field goal and lost the game. So the Browns win by 1. Deshaun Watson, the best game in his Browns career. Amari Cooper with 122 yards and a touchdown. Lamar Jackson played great, just wasn't enough. The offense stumbled in the second half. America's game of the week, the Bengals win 28-23 and beat the Buccaneers. And Tampa Bay is starting to slide when it comes to losses. 248, 2 touchdowns for Baker Mayfield. He played good today. Joe Burrow, though, 273, 3 touchdowns. Good game for Jamar Chase. It came down to the last drive. The Buccaneers had a punt, and the Bengals were able to waste the time, and they get a big win on the road in Tampa Bay to get to 6-5. Bucks slipped to 6-4. Sunday Night Football on NBC, 21-13. The Packers take down the Bears, and even without Aaron Rodgers, they still own Chicago. 261, 2 touchdowns. Great day for Jordan Love, as Tucker Kraft and Christian Watson each had nice nights. Justin Fields, 168. The only touchdown was a Khalil Herbert rushing touchdown. As the Bears slip to 3-7, Packers get the win. They get out of their 4-game losing streak and are now 5-5. Upset of the week on Monday Night Football. The Broncos beat the defending Super Bowl champions 24-16, and they finally beat the Chiefs. 5-5 now are the Broncos, 247, 2 touchdowns, and an interception for Russell Wilson. Mahomes, 191, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That touchdown going to Rashee Rice. The Broncos only beat the Chiefs once in sim history, came in 2018 in Week 17 when the Chiefs benched their starters. Here are the teams on bye this week. Seattle, Dallas, San Francisco, Philadelphia. 4 playoff teams on bye this week in the NFL. As here are the standings, just a reminder, in the description below is the Super Bowl VIII Sweepstakes. Fill out that document to be a part of the Super Bowl VIII experience. As the Bills lead the AFC, Kansas City and Baltimore each lose. They're now 7-3. Jacksonville at 5-5 leads that 3-way tie for the lead in the AFC South. Dolphins at 7-4, with the Bengals and Steelers each at 6-5. But look at that, from 8th down to 14th, still a legit chance to make the playoffs. As in the NFC, the Lions and 49ers each at 9-1, Cowboys at 8-2, Bucks at 6-4, Philly at 8-2 in that tight battle in the NFC East, Seattle at 6-4, and then the Vikings with their win and the Rams' loss are the 7th seed at 6-4. Rams and Packers 5-5, with the Saints at 4-6 and Giants at 4-7 with good chances to make the playoffs. This is ASC signing off.